Hi everyone and welcome back to Matter for Thought. For today's episode I have Gravity Scout as your host. You can have it from here.
As promised in the previous episode, today we will see the action of an impulse and its effect on momentum, or in the everyday word for the phenomenon, collision. A collision is the name given in physics to the moment when two or more objects have an interaction that includes the action of an impulse or the transfer of momentum from one to another. Momentum, let's just remember, is the velocity of the body's mass, and according to the law of conservation of momentum that we also mentioned, in the closed system, momentum must be conserved. So without wasting a moment, let's just start with examples. The simplest case is the case where all the momentum of body A is transferred to body B, so that body A ends the encounter with a complete stop, and body B ends the encounter with the momentum that body A had. This case occurs only when two conditions are met. Number 1, the masses of the two bodies are equal. Number 2, the meeting point is exactly perpendicular to the direction of motion. So let's assume for a moment that something like this happens in a pool game, and we'll do the math. The mass of a billiard ball is 5.5 ounces on average. That is 0.16 kilograms. Suppose the speed that the cue ball gets from the stick is 2 meters per second, then its momentum is P equals 2 times 0.16 equals 0.32. The units are kilogram meters per second. Let's assume that the impact is perpendicular to the motion. That is, the colored ball continues in exactly the same direction as the cue ball. So the system can be treated as a motion in one dimension. So what happens is that the cue ball applies on impulse with a magnitude of 0.32 kilogram meters per second on the target. And since we saw that an impulse is a force over time, then everything that is relevant to the force is also relevant to impulse, including Newton's third law, the law of action and reaction. Therefore, the target ball applies on impulse with the same magnitude and opposite direction on the white ball. Let's state that m is the masses of the balls, v is the velocity before the collision, u is the velocity after the collision. For the target ball, mv plus j equals mu. mv equals 0 and therefore j equals mu. That is the impulse that is applied to him from the white ball is exactly equal to his speed. On the side of the cue ball, the opposite happens. We saw that the impulse is equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. Therefore, mv plus negative j equals mu. We don't really need to expand, do we? In the case where the collision sends at least one of the bodies in a different direction than the velocity the striking body had before the collision, everything remains the same, but we have to disassemble the impulse into its components on the axis and then do the math. And here there is no fundamental difference between 2 dimensions and 3 dimensions. We will stay on the pool table. This time the situation is like this. The cue ball moves parallel to the length of the table, and the target ball is 30 degrees from the hole. We will stay with the same velocity as in the previous example. For the target ball, mv plus j equals mu. mv equals 0, 0. mu equals 0.32 sine 30 cos 30. And therefore, j equals 0.32 sine 30 cos 30 equals 0.16, 0.277. We will use this impulse in the opposite direction on the cue ball. mv minus j equals mu. 0, 0.32 minus 0.32 sine 30 cos 30 equals mu. mu equals 0, 0.32 minus 0.16, 0.277 equals negative 0.16, 0.043 kilograms times meter per second, which looks something like this on the table. When the masses are not the same, nothing essential changes. The only thing to consider is that the difference in mass leads to a difference in momentum, so the correlation between the impulse and the velocity is less trivial. Such a collision in which each body remains with its mass and only the velocity changes is called an elastic collision. There is another type of collision in which the two bodies unite into one body with a total mass of both. Such a collision is called an inelastic collision or a plastic collision. In this situation, the calculation is simpler. m1v1 plus m2v2 equals m1 plus m2u. Let's take, for example, a block of plasticine with a mass of 750 grams placed on a post 1 meter high. Then a block of plasticine with a mass of 250 grams hit it at a velocity of 20 meters per second in the horizontal direction, y-axis. What will be its distance from the post at the moment of hitting the ground? We'll calculate combined momentum. 0.75 times 0 plus 0.25 times 20 equals 5 kilograms meter per second. This is the total momentum of the new body, which has mass of 1 kilogram. Velocity is the momentum divided by mass, so the velocity is 5 divided by 1, which means 5 meters per second, and hence it is motion under the influence of gravity, and we have already done that. RT equals R0 plus V0t plus 0.5 AT squared. 0.0 plus 4.9 t squared equals 1. T squared equals 1 over 4.9. T equals 1 over 2.2136 equals 0.4517 seconds. Therefore, during 0.4517 seconds at a velocity of 5 meters per second, the unified plasticine will travel at a distance of 2.259 meters. Piece of cake.
That was great. In the next episode, we will get to know the operation inverse to the derivative, and we'll talk briefly about its uses in classical mechanics and physics in general. Before I wrap things up, I want to thank my patrons. If you find the content good, like and subscribe will be appreciated. And if you find the cause worthy, the ways to donate my channel are in the description. I was, as always, Round, and I'll see you in the next video.